Well, greetings to all, and welcome to this third installment of Bayou Gold Guy versus Hurricane Ida. As you can see, my ceiling is in. I've gone through and done what we call backfilling. Anytime you've got a gap in your sheetrock that's more than 1/8 of an inch, you want to go in and backfill it and let that dry so your new mud will have something to, you push it in that joint deep, and then gives your new tape, when you put your tape and tape joint over it, it'll gives it something to, it's not filling in the gap and having a vacant spot. So yeah, all my screw holes have been hit for the first time. I've started sanding them down. Got my ceiling installed. That's where my new light's gonna go there. And it took a hell of a lot longer to put up this little bit of ceiling than it did without that lift than it did putting up this whole room. So here's another spot that I had to fill in because my sizes just didn't quite match up for what it needed to butt in. So, but yeah, everything has, like I said, it has the first coat. I'm about to sand all these down, then I'll hit them with the second coat of mud while I'm doing my tape and bedding joints here. And then there's what I was talking about, a butt joint where you've got a sheet of sheetrock coming across and then two pieces meet above it. You don't ever want these to be lined up like over the same seams you stagger them so that you've got a good solid, that way it keeps it from sagging and lipping and just messing up. So yeah, but pretty happy with the way it came out because this ceiling's very rolled. Like I said, these ceiling joists are pretty messed up. Part of it's from the hurricane lifting up a part of the roof and twisting it as well. So this house was built in like 75, so it's been here for a little while. So yeah, so now this is the suck part where I got to go through with my light, sand everything down. I used my work light at home last night to get my video in the dark, and I forgot it's still hanging on the wall. So I got my trusty flashlight. That's how you got to do it to make sure everything's smoothed. And it's not so important on this first stage because I'm going to all be taping back over it anyway. But so there we have it. 2 days to put up 600 square feet of sheetrock, and then another half a day to get this mud and actually another about a half a day putting up just this ceiling and the couple of spots that I had to fill in, like in that back room with the panels. But and then the rest of the day was spent getting the first layer of mud on these. So, but yeah, basically 3 days it's covered, and that lift made a big difference. So I'm pretty happy with that progress. I'll have this ready to paint in a couple of days, textured and painted, and get my stuff back up and get me a nice big check and do something. I'll probably go on another job. I've got another 2 more lined up. So actually, I've got 2 off of this job. He's sending me to his sister and somebody else that have already gotten ripped off by their contractors. So yeah, now the horrid part begins, the worst part of sheetrocking. This is one of those, where has this been all my life things here. Especially when I was doing the T111. This is a plywood sheetrock carrier. You take the thing, you center it about in the middle of the board, you clamp it down, it self-grabs, and then you just one hand pick it up and carry it. It handles up to 1 inch piece of plywood or sheetrock or anything else. And like I said, it's a wood grip on it. Very cool. I saw this at Home Depot, and I figured this thing was going to be like $25 or $30. It was $10. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take that for $1. I'll buy that for $1. So yeah, it's a pretty cool tool to have. It's made it a lot easier dragging this stuff around the hall, down these halls, carrying this, dispersing this stuff, because you don't have to get underneath it to lift it. So I give it a thumbs up for this little tool. Well, all right, I really can't do a sheetrocking video without doing a little show of how you get your sheetrock cut. In this case, I'm needing to do a long 8-foot sheet, 34 inches wide, which puts it right here in the middle of the rock. So what you do is, I've got my T-square here, 34 inches on this. Actually, I'm at 34 and an eighth. 34 inches and an eighth on this comes out to 14 and an eighth on this side of the tee. So you line your knife up on where it matches up on that, and then you use the top of the T-square on top of your sheetrock to keep you in place. And see, I'm creeping up a little bit there wider than I want to be. I'll bring it back down. I'll shave off anything that's over. I'm kind of doing it on an awkward wall here. Normally I have my other sheets stacked ahead of it so I don't have to worry about the top not catching. And then you get to your end and you just score the rest of that. You pull it over. Give it a pop. That breaks on your seam. Normally I cut it from behind when you're doing this, but in this case, when you're doing a top seam on a long one like this, it's harder to get underneath it. And then you take your knife and you just rake it. You can use I've got a rasp and like a sanding tool for this, but the blade of your knife usually is all you need to clean up your edge. And there you go. And now this sheet is ready to go up in the hallway. Like I said, I've already taken back my lift. It was too wide to fit in the hallway to use this, so I'm just going to use a prop to get underneath it. But yeah, that's basically the easy way to cut you a long sheet. And of course, it only works on the first time. If you need to cut that again, you have to do it differently because you're not going to you have to change to like a regular construction square if you want to try to hold the screw that way. But that's a good, quick, easy way to do it. And now I'll get a tee and prop it up and get it in place and get on to mudding. So, all right, I just wanted to show it. I realized when I watched the other, I got to show a little bit of how you actually get these things cut. So that's the long hard cut there if you ever need to do that. Yeah. So this is what this part's about. You sanding down the joints. And you've got to have a respirator when you're indoors like this because this stuff is very caustic and you don't want to be breathing it. And it sucks to do this overhead. So you gotta take this, I gotta use a sander with just basically a piece of mesh, almost a wire mesh. Yeah, it sucks. And so on. And then it's basically rinse and repeat. You go through, do that, then you go through and you hit it with another coat of mud. Actually, this is just, like I said, this is my first fill-in that I did. So, I'm not worried about knocking it down smooth. I'm just taking off any rough spots because I'm going to tape and bed mud over all this. I'm going to be filling in some thick spots back there with the sheet to try to make it look a little more level, float it out. And Go back now, but now all my screw holes will be ready to hit with another coat and should fill them up and they should hold the rest. So I saw Mike had left a message, Vendetta left me a message on another video asking about how long it takes this stuff to set up down here in the humidity. And actually it goes pretty quick. I put this on pretty thick yesterday afternoon and it was already dried solid this, today. Early morning or mid morning. So and I also, they've got the hot mud you can use which sets in 45 minutes, but it's very hard to sand compared to this stuff, and it's just I'm never in that big of a hurry to have to fight with it and get it in and get that done, and then you're so worn out for the time you get done sanding it, it doesn't matter because I'm too tired to add another coat on it anyway. So that's it. Next step will be get it all taped and bedded and then sanding that down. So we'll pick up on the progress here a little bit later down the road. So, but yeah, this is the hell I'm in for the next couple of days of doing this, filling joints, sanding, and return and repeat. So I'll put in a shot of what it looks like when I get done for sure with just the first round. But so thank you for joining me once again on the reprised version of Bayou Gold Guy versus Hurricane Ida, and we're continuing on. And all right, we're here at the end of the day. I've been at this about 10 hours since I started the sanding this morning. And you can see I've got all my first tape, my tape down and my first layer of mud on it. Got all my hallway done, all looks pretty good. My big kitchen area. Everything again, all my butt joints have come together very nice there, and a lot of them. All my nail holes have been filled for the second time. That should be done for those. I shouldn't have to hit those again. And then my last room here, and I am down to my very last butt joint. So I thought we would go through and I'll show you all exactly what we do on these. So all right, I've got my last stretch. This is a 4-foot section here between the pieces. This is where my two end pieces come together in the middle of my panel. So I've already got the tape joint run on both sides. So I got my last bit of mud I need. And I don't do anything to this whenever especially on the ceiling, because you want it thicker to hold. And for the first tape, and you don't want it thin either. So you can see there's screws on both sides. So you want a mud line where you can put your tape that will cover both those screws and the crack. So you load it up. And you want to carry it past where your tape is there, so you have a good layer, because what you're going to do is basically scrape most of this mud out from underneath the tape once you put it on there. I try to get about an 1/8 of an inch as a base. This shit's always slopping all over here. But at least it's not, I'm not covered with sand, dust from sanding it anymore. Well, I'm still covered with it, but I haven't had it raining down on me. So there we go. You just want to make sure you've got it over on both sides. So there we got that. Now, you take your, like I said, it's almost 10 hours. I can hardly even stand up on my little stool anymore. You get positioned, spot. So you got your tape, and when you use this tape, it actually bends. It's got a crease in the middle of it. We're doing corners, so you always want to have it with that V pointing into your crack. So you hold it up, you get your measurement.
when it's up on the wall, you can just tear it, use your knife, and you cut it.
When you're in the middle like this, you don't want to be jamming your thing in because it'll mess up your mud. And then, last one here, folks. It's about time. It's been a long fucking day getting here. I'm going to be pushing getting home for my Friday night premiere on my channel. So you get it where it's just barely on there. And then you want to start in the middle and pull from the middle each way to the end. That way you make sure you don't have any kind of wrinkle in your tape or any kind of crimping. Now, keep your knife very flat and press pretty solidly all the way down the length and carry it off. Repeat the process going the other way. Clean up the edge a little bit. Take the rest of my mud here. I should have just enough to finish this off. And you put your coat of mud over that. And again, I'm going to take most of this off because you don't want a thick coat of mud over this first tape. You just pretty much want to coat it and give it a chance to set, and then you'll feather out with a wider. You go with a wider trowel each time to feather out. This will end up being the next time it'll come out to about this far on each side, and then my last coat it'll come out about this far on each side, floating it out. In some places even more, because god damn it, because my ceilings are not level or even. So I'll try to float some of this out and make it look even. And then there you have it. Let's set a pull on one side and go all the way across where my joint is there. Back across the other way. And I'm leaving a little bit more over the edge. I normally do. Just I'll make up for it sanding it. I'll just have more to sand. But it's just a little bit quicker not to keep feathering it over and over again. And that should right there should be. Like I said, I got a little bit of a line on this side here, but and that's it. And we've got I don't know if any of that was actually in the right camera shot, but that's the way our joint looks when we're done. That'll dry, and I will be back to sand on it tomorrow. If it's dry, I might have to wait and until you can see I'm pretty well covered. So all right, my friends, thank you for joining me here today. You got a little taste of how I pay for my gold. This job's going to get me at least a half-ounce bucket out of this one, if not a full ounce. I'll tell you that right now. Going to make it worth this. So again, we're rinse and repeat. I'll come back and redo all this that I just did again today, either tomorrow or the next day, and then probably one more time after that, and then I'll be able to texture it and paint it. So, till the next time, my friends, thanks for joining me.